November 3rd, 2019, the London police officers explained that a woman woke up wild in their station. Officers were hurt because of what she was doing, and so they had to charge this woman with assault. This was all that happened according to the police officers. However, what actually happened was that the police officers assaulted this woman. A police surrogate kicked, stomped, and stepped on the woman, punched her in the face, and jammed her with his forearm into her jaw. All of this happened while the woman was restrained in handcuffs and tied by the legs, and she was also held by 3 or 4 officers. None of the officers told the surrogate to stop, and none of the other officers tried to stop this assault. Additionally, the surrogate did not report his assault on the woman in his official statement that was sent to the court. It took a lawyer to find out what actually happened, and when the video surfaced, the surrogate was charged with assault. However, he did not go to jail, and he did not lose his job. He only lost 5 weeks of pay, and he kept his job and his rank. This story opens our eyes to the culture in the London Police Service that allowed the assault to occur and to be covered up. It also shows how the London Police policies and rules for reporting misconduct by colleagues is not adequate. It shows how London police investigate themselves and determine discipline of others. As well, it opens our eyes to how well the London Police Service Board fulfills its obligation in monitoring the discipline of police officers, and it opens our eyes to the reluctance of the Middlesex Crown's Office to obtain relevant evidence in a case involving local police.
We chose to culture jam the London Police Force and their symbol, Deeds Not Words, as a symbolic form of protest against police brutality. By jamming this symbolic medium, there's an overt passion to challenge corporate power while emphasizing how the signifier, Deeds Not Words, produces a signified notion of violence and discrimination, further creating an overall negative sign. In terms of how we jammed what we did, our group discovered a large number of cases in which the London police have inappropriately acted with force and aggression towards local London citizens. Our next step was analyzing the police logo or badge and determining how it matched their symbol, Deeds Not Words. There was a clear disconnect between the signifier and sign. Therefore, using Photoshop, we replaced certain elements of the badge to represent accurate signifiers of their motto. As displayed in the new recreated logo image, the chains distressing off the crown signifies the notion of being trapped in the system, of privileged power, and reflecting discrimination through obvious police brutality actions. The gun replaced the key to imply the sentiment of the London police using harmful and violent actions before asking questions. The original beaver was replaced with a snake to identify symbolism of death and destruction. Lastly, the banner that's below has been altered from blue to red in order to express anger and threats of war against the people from government-issued power. This particular sign was chosen because of the past year's overwhelming news of incidents of police brutality and racial profiling. The absurd neglect to the harmful acts of law enforcement creates a societal environment of fear and violence that must be changed in order to ensure safety from police forces. We chose Deeds Not Words as a recognizable symbol of the London Police Services because it's printed on all police vehicles and therefore has an unavoidable presence in the London community.
According to the LPS website, the motto, Deeds Not Words, stresses that actions are more important than conversation. On the same website, the LPS state their mission to, quote, ensure the safety and well-being of London's communities. Our Culture Jam seeks to highlight the incongruence of these two messages. By juxtaposing this motto with images of the LPS using excessive force, our project reveals the opportunity for an abuse of power that is created when a police force is more interested in using their fists and weapons than their brains and words. By referencing 2 well-documented examples of the LPS using excessive force, our Culture Jam subverts the positive connotation of a police force that is oriented towards action. It encourages Londoners and Western students to reflect critically on the connotations of this ubiquitous motto by showing its consequences. This jam also appropriates the thin blue line of policing, a concept used by pro-police advocates to refer to the police as the line which protects society from violent chaos. Rather than protect us from this, our Culture Jam demonstrates the violent chaos which occurs at the hands of police. Given recent discourse surrounding police brutality, our jam asks how the pugnacious culture of the LPS creates dangerous confrontations between the police and community, which often occur among those most marginalized. This motto clearly discourages strategies of de-escalation, which require communication through difficult conversations and outreach.
In regards to our intended target audience, Western students would be the first. Students at Western University have experienced firsthand the extent to which police have abused their power, along with the use of excessive force. One of the appropriate images is captioned "Deeds Not Words," including an image of a student in the social science building being tackled to the ground by more than one police officer in an overly aggressive manner. Pictured is former Western student, sorry if I don't pronounce this right, Ernest Zelskovic. His violent arrest took place in October of 2009 and was posted on YouTube, bringing him to sue the London Police Services Board, the school, and the officers that made the arrest. The university released a report on the incident that was prepared by Ontario Provincial Police Commissioner Gwen Boniface. The report's recommendations included having campus police officers take part in awareness training on de-escalation skills to assist in dealing with mental health issues. This statement essentially signifies that the police officers who made the arrest did not read the situation properly and instead used excessive force before trying to comply with the individual and their needs. The second demographic in which we targeted are local London residents. There have been numerous incidents of police brutality in the London community. Already in June of 2021, this past summer, after a Black Lives Matter rally in Victoria Park, a second rally took place shortly after, which was aimed at defunding the police, which drew in around 1,000 London residents. Therefore, it is evident that there is already some form of resistance being built up amongst London residents towards the London police force. In 2011, similar police brutality protests occurred after a 17-year-old was tasered by the London police. With such a large demographic, there is greater opportunity for widespread collective resistance and action to take place. By challenging the existing structures of power in such a public manner, we hope that the superior powers of the London police force become their own undoing.
Because the Deeds Not Words motto is printed on LPS cruisers and therefore can be seen circulating throughout the City of London, we believe our culture jam should be spread at a similar citywide scale. To achieve this broad dissemination, our images would be printed on 5.5 by 4.25 inch stickers so that 4 can fit on a letter-sized page. This would allow us to use printed home sticker sheets to produce as many copies of the jam as we can afford. This template would also be published online so that anyone can print out their own copy of the stickers. The stickers would then be posted throughout the city, particularly in areas with high police presence like the downtown core and East London. We would also disseminate the stickers through activist networks and at local protests so that other members of the community can help post the stickers. This would also promote solidarity between our critique of the LPS and those who are part of other local movements, such as BLM London, Idle No More, and local tenancy advocates such as Acorn London, who all share a similar distrust of the LPS.
Fink and Delore illustrate that culture jamming tactics vary across different historical and geographic contexts. While culture jamming the London police's symbol, deeds, not words, we sought to communicate how police brutality and their injustices are still active and have been active for over a decade. Over the past year, there has been a global recognition surrounding police brutality, especially in the USA. However, the same methods and oppressive mindsets of officers are active throughout the London police force. As well, one might typically think of police brutality in different historical or geographic contexts. However, this jam seeks to accomplish that our audience sees the true violence that London police participate in. In this way, we hope to challenge a certain Canadian sense of superiority surrounding police violence, to remind our audience that this does in fact happen here. Fink and Delore describe détournement by prompting or having a double take by the viewer, which creates a kind of perspective by incongruity. Deeds, not words, over London police's act in police brutality is attacking the institution and its workers of the London police individually, while also promoting critical reflection. Therefore, we have appropriated and transformed texts through what Fink and Delore describe as détournement. As Fink and Delore describe culture jamming as political, Culture jamming does political work that critically engages narratives of the dominant capitalist culture. By culture jamming the London police, we have challenged existing structures of power, seeking to reveal hypocrisy and injustices, while hopefully sparking public outrage and promoting collective action.